Hi, I'm Violet, and I survived a terrible experience just a few months ago. I still can't believe my luck. How can anyone escape from a shark attack? Let me tell you all about how I managed to get out alive. My family rarely, if ever, went on vacations together. I have three older brothers, so most of the money my mom and dad make goes to our clothes, food, and education. They like to give us nice things from time to time, but the trips are really expensive. Plus, they are super busy working and rarely have enough time to get away with the whole family. Sure, we've taken a quick weekend trip now and then, but always to super close locations. Mostly a short camping tour or something like that. It was fun, don't get me wrong, but I always wanted something more, something longer and cooler. I wanted to have lots of fun memories with my brothers and parents, so I kept begging and begging to take a real vacation together. Finally, my parents gathered us all together in our living room. My brothers and I began talking while we waited and tried to guess what they were going to tell us. We made all kinds of jokes, like we were moving or that we were all adopted or something like that. Finally, Dad and Mom joined us holding an envelope. They placed it on the table and gave us an excited look. Of course, my brothers and I were so confused, but I decided to open it and look inside. Much to my surprise, I saw plane tickets and a hotel reservation. I squealed in excitement and showed it to my brothers. They were all so happy, and we had a big family hug. My mom and dad had finally decided that we should go on a long, fun vacation, and we were all going together during the summer. My parents began explaining everything they had planned for the journey, and I was super stunned. We were going to go jet skiing, trekking, sightseeing, and even scuba diving. It all sounded like so much fun, and I couldn't wait to enjoy all those activities with my brothers and my parents. Now, the problem was that my mom giddily told us about the riskiest of all the activities they had booked: swimming with sharks. I was shocked. I was super thrilled and scared all at the same time. It seemed like the riskiest and most dangerous activity I could think of. Could I really do it at all? I was terrified of being eaten by a shark. There were still a few more months to go until the vacation, so we had lots of time to get ready. I researched a lot about sharks and swimming with them. I wanted to know if it was really safe or if we were going to get attacked. Apparently, sharks biting humans was really, really unusual. Sure, that seemed great, but wasn't it more likely to be attacked if one jumped right next to them in the water? I wasn't sure if it was a good idea at all. Maybe it was better not to do that. I could do just about every other activity and avoid swimming with sharks. When summer finally arrived, we all packed up and headed over to Florida. We couldn't believe how beautiful everything was. My brothers and I were so happy, and we wanted to spend as much time together as we could. This was the first real trip we ever enjoyed together, at least the first long and fancy one. We did so many things every single day. It was as if we didn't lose a single second of any of the days we'd spend together. That was amazing. After all, we had more than enough time at home to just relax and watch TV. This was a unique experience, and we didn't want to lose a minute of it. The beach was beautiful, and we had lots of fun jet skiing and going on different tours. Finally, the time to go swimming with sharks arrived. I was so worried. I didn't know if I could even go through with it. My brothers were real daredevils. They had inherited it from my parents. None of them seemed to be scared at all, but I was trembling as we headed over to the boat. I was close to tears and told my mom I didn't want to go. She said that I should at least get on the ride, and if I changed my mind, I could just stay on board. I asked the tour guides about shark attacks. They replied that it didn't happen so often, and my parents agreed. People thought that sharks loved to eat human beings thanks to movies like Jaws, but it was very rare. After all, those animals had so many different natural prey to eat instead. Why would they attack a human being when we were big and looked nothing like the animals they usually ate? When the boat finally arrived at the spot where we would be jumping into the water, they began giving us so much information about the sharks. They gave us all kinds of interesting data, and I was fascinated. They explained how the sharks were usually super nice. Apparently, there had been no reported attacks on these tours ever since the company was founded like a decade ago. They assured us everyone would be safe and let us know about a few ground rules to ensure our well being. Everything seemed so perfect, and I thought that I was worrying too much. No one in the boat was scared at all, and they all seemed super excited to get in the water. So I convinced myself that I was being silly after all. If no one was attacked by sharks before on that spot, why would they bite me? I tried to convince myself that I had no reason to be scared. Looking down into the water, I saw the sharks swimming around us. They were so big, and their teeth were massive. I backed away and shook my head. No, no way I could jump in there. Even if no one else was scared, I was terrified. It made no sense to me that those large creatures weren't going to try and eat me. So my parents and brothers jumped without me, and they began swimming around, having the time of their lives. They seemed super excited, and they were really having fun. I hated the fact that I wasn't there with them. After all, this was a family vacation, and we were supposed to share all these experiences together. They kept on telling me it was amazing and that I would love it. I just had to be brave and jump in the water. I wasn't too sure about it, but I asked myself if I wouldn't end up regretting staying on the boat. Now I know I shouldn't have done it, but I decided I only lived once and I was never going to get such an opportunity again. So I jumped into the water and my family cheered me on. Once there, I wasn't scared any longer. It was really an amazing experience, and I couldn't believe how creepy and beautiful the sharks were at the same time. My parents had bought an underwater camera, and I got to take a lot of gorgeous pictures super up close. Well, it seemed like I was right to be scared, because when I swam closer to a shark to caress it, I felt the worst pain I had ever experienced in my life. I must have touched it somewhere I shouldn't have because the shark suddenly seemed to get super mad. It swam back toward me and bit me hard on the hand. So hard, actually, that it was completely severed. Everyone began to panic, of course. How could they not, when a shark had quite literally eaten my hand? My dad dragged me away from the animal and helped me to swim toward the boat. I was in too much shock to even try to move, so he had to do all the effort for me. My brothers tried to find my hand in the water, but soon it became obvious that the shark had actually swallowed it. The tour guides called 911 immediately, and we began sailing back to shore. They assured my parents that the paramedics would be expecting us on the port the second we arrived. Mom was screaming at them about what happened, and my father was trying to keep me from going into shock. I was in so much pain and couldn't stop crying inconsolably. My brothers were freaking out, and who can blame them? When we arrived back at the beach, the ambulance was already there waiting for us, just like we had been promised. I was rushed to the hospital, and the paramedics were super nice to me on the way there. They gave me something for the pain, but I was still terrified. The moment we got to the hospital, the doctors decided I needed urgent surgery. I was so scared, but I wasn't conscious for much longer. I don't know if I fainted or if it was the effects of the anesthesia, but it was certainly a relief. When I woke up, my parents told me that the doctors couldn't reattach my hand since the shark had eaten it, so they did their best to save as much of my arm as they could. I was really lucky, though, since the shark bit my left hand off and not my right one. Since it's the one I use the most, I'm not really so limited by the accident. The wound hurt for a really long time, and it took me months to fully recover. I had to do a lot of physical therapy. It was hard, sure, but my family was there every single step of the way. They were such a big support, and I feel like this experience just got us closer to each other. This year, my parents promised we'd take a new vacation to make up for my big accident. We won't be going to the beach this time, though, and we're not going to book any dangerous activities or tours either. It'll be a super fun family trip, but totally safe as well. I think we're going to be heading to a nice cottage in the mountains, and I'll try to go horseback riding, though I'm not sure if I'll be able to. I'm honestly excited about it. You might ask yourself if I'm mad at my parents and my brothers for insisting I jumped into the water. Honestly, I'm not. I know they had the best intentions, and they just wanted me to have a good time. It's not their fault, and I don't blame them for any of what happened. I feel like I have a bigger appreciation for life now, and I don't take the small things for granted any longer. Of course, it's not easy having just one hand, but I know it could have been far worse, so I'm grateful I'm alive and well. Thanks for watching. What's the worst encounter you had with a wild animal? Tell us about it in the comments. Don't forget to check out other videos and subscribe.